Hi, my name is Jessica Gigstad, and I literally live in a cornfield in Kansas.
I'm married to the nicest farmer ever, and we love raising our children in rural America. But even though I'm a country girl at heart, I love being fancy. I love finding new recipes. I have a passion for entertaining. But here on the farm, it's most important to nourish my nearest and dearest. Whether it's entertaining al fresco or a cozy night in, I'll find a way to make it simple and scrumptious.
Let's elevate your everyday, yes? Welcome to Highbrow Down Home.
I'm not sure what life is like where you are, but time here on the farm seems to just slip by faster and faster. The kids are getting involved in some extracurricular activities, and Scott always has a lot of irons in the fire. And so with these busy nights and busier weekends, more and more I've been finding myself turning to one skillet meals to feed my family. They're fast, they're delicious, and you probably have most of the ingredients already on hand. So today we are going to take you from sunrise to sundown in one skillet. A good morning starts with a good breakfast, so our first skillet meal of the day is going to be a sausage potato galette. So this dish is basically a marriage between a quiche and a breakfast casserole. So I am just dicing up a sweet onion, and that goes really well with sausage. Oops. I've already got my sausage browning behind me. And I'm just gonna give my sausage a stir and just check on it. And while my sausage is cooking away, I'm going to get started here on some little red potatoes, and I am going to kind of dice these up into smaller than bite-sized chunks. These aren't going to get all the way done. I'm going to throw them in the skillet here in a moment, but they are going to have more time to bake up in the oven, so they will have plenty of time to finish up in there. And I'm using a 10-inch skillet today. It's pretty shallow, so it's going to work with the crust really, really well. All right, so that is looking good. All right, so we've got our two little red potatoes all diced up and my onions. I am actually going to go ahead and chop up my sage right now. I'm gonna get about a tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon of sage. And sage and sausage are just kind of a classic combination. They go together beautifully. They have just kind of this earthy sort of taste to them. And this is all gonna go in the skillet together. And this is also gonna put some really pretty color as well as gorgeous flavor in our potato sausage galette. All right, I think our sausage is about done. So I'm just gonna grab that off the stove here. Okay. And look at that. Oh my goodness, that looks really good already. All right, so I'm just gonna take a slotted spatula and I'm just gonna remove the meat, and I'm gonna leave the drippings or the fat from the sausage in the pan, and that is going to help us saute up our onions and our potato and our sage. So we're just gonna leave that all in there. We're gonna let this drain for a moment. There we go, okay. And in we go with our potato and our sage. I'm gonna hold back a little sage for some garnish later on. All right, we'll get that in there. And onions, probably about half a cup of onions. We'll let this saute up on the stove until the onions are soft, about 5 minutes. So while my onions are sauteing away, I am going to get started on my pie crust for our galette. And I'm just using Alice's pie crust, which is available on highbrowdownhome.com if you're interested. All right, and this pie crust always rolls out so nice and easy. I need to flour this for a little bit. Okay, there we go. And definitely you don't want it sticking to the counter, so lots of flour is necessary. Okay. And we're gonna want this a little bit bigger than our 10-inch skillet. So I'm gonna make sure I've got plenty of edge to kind of come around the sides of it so it looks really like nice and open face and kind of rustic. All right, so I'm gonna check on those. The onions are definitely soft and the potatoes have a good start. So I'm gonna turn them off the heat. And the thing with skillet cooking is you always gotta have a lot of hot pads around so that you don't burn yourself. Now, I am just going to make sure that this has plenty of fat in the bottom so that the pie crust won't stick. So I'm just gonna add a little pat of butter here and swirl that all around and up the sides. Yeah, that's looking good. Now, moment of truth. I have to tell you all about this. This is very serious, all right? When you put your pie crust in here, you have to move kind of quickly because your skillet is nice and hot, and so your pie crust will start to fall apart if you're working a lot with it and it's sitting here in the hot skillet. So if you want to, you can let it cool down for a few minutes if you've got the time, or you can just dive right in if you're feeling confident. You can just throw it in, throw in your fillings and crack on the eggs. You can do it either way. So I'm just gonna kind of give these a little stir here just on the plate. So it's all mixed up. Oh my gosh. I love the color of the sage in here. That's gorgeous. All right, so here we go. All right, that's gonna come off the counter nicely. All right, so I've got my grease skillet here. In. We've got plenty of crust here. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. So it's hanging over the edges really nicely. So that's going to allow us to drape the crust over the side. And here we go with that. It's looking absolutely luscious. And I didn't add any salt because the sausage is already kind of salty by itself. And do that. What I am going to do, I'm just going to trim off a little bit of my excess crust here. We want some kind of curling up around the sides, but we don't need this much. So just kind of cut that off there. Okay, I'll pinch that little tail off. Okay. All right, next is my favorite part. So we're just gonna crack some eggs all over the top. And I'm gonna do probably 5 eggs. I'll just leave that like that. And like I said, this is kind of a marriage between a quiche and a breakfast casserole. And I'm just gonna put one right in the middle. There we go, okay. And then I'm gonna just do a little bit of sage on the top of those eggs. Oh, so pretty, okay. And a little bit of sage goes a long way. And I'm also going to do just a tiny bit of crushed red pepper, just for a tiny bit of heat. All right, and next we are going to just kind of fold the galette over, the crust of the galette over the top. And there we have it, folks. All right, and I am just going to, see, it just is what it is. It doesn't apologize. It's a galette, and it's going to be just lovely. I'm going to finish this off by brushing a little egg wash around the edges. We're gonna pop this into the oven at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. All right, so our sausage potato galette has come out of the oven and it's looking gorgeous. I love how you can see the egg yolks just sitting on the top. So let me tell you how you plate this up. It starts with a generous slice of the sausage egg galette with a cup of fresh fruit and some toast with jam. Coming up, my skillet chicken enchiladas. Stay right here. Our next skillet meal of the day is one of my favorites. It's chicken enchiladas. And so what I have here are 6 or 7 just chicken cutlets, and I'm just seasoning them up with a mixture of chili powder, cumin, and oregano. And I'm gonna put this into a hot skillet with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm just gonna go in with my hands. All right, and those are all looking good. Into the skillet these go. All right, they're already kind of getting brown on one side. And while my chicken is cooking, I'm going to get started on the veggies that are going to go in this enchilada skillet. And what I have here is a red pepper, an orange, and a poblano pepper, which is gonna add some kind of nice smokiness, and it doesn't have that kind of what I think is a bitter flavor that just a normal green pepper would. So I am just going to chop all these up into bite-sized pieces. And when our chicken is done, we're going to take that out of the skillet and we are going to put these guys in. All right, there we go. Okay, all of our delicious veggies. I better check on the chicken. All right, so my chicken is done. So I am just going to remove it. Sizzle. So I'm just gonna put it on my cutting board and I'm gonna just cut it into little bite-sized chunks. And I am going to add in my veggies. If you're worried about your chicken not being quite done, it's going to go back into the pan so it'll have a chance to finish off if you're concerned that it might not be done. So in we go with our veggies. I love that sound. Okay, and back onto the stove we go. Oh, it's heavy. Just let those go for a little bit, and while my veggies are sauteing up, I am going to just cut my chicken to kind of little strips here. And this is one of the meals that everybody in my family actually likes. I mentioned Liesl is really, really into it. Cal, he took a while, but actually he kind of likes it too. And Scott, he asks me about every other week when I'm making this for him. So, and I like it too because I love veggies. It has a lot of healthy elements to it, so I really appreciate that. I don't feel guilty eating this for dinner. Just check on the veggies here. Make sure they're doing okay. Next, we're gonna add some fun things to our skillet, our chicken enchilada skillet. So I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour. Already got one in there. And this is going to be a little bit saucy, so we need the flour to kind of thicken things up. Okay. All right, and next I'm gonna add a cup of low sodium chicken broth. And this is where you want to be sure you scrape the bottom of your skillet to get all those yummy brown bits off the bottom, because that is flavor. That is full on flavor right there. Okay, so I've got my green chilies here. I'm just going to kind of do half of this can since it's a bigger can. And I'm going to let some of the juice drain with my fork. There we go. Okay, and this is gonna again lend some nice smokiness. Okay, this is looking gorgeous. Okay, so we will turn this off of the heat. We will get our fun toppings on. The last element of our skillet chicken enchiladas is going to be cheese and corn tortillas. So I am just grating up some sharp cheddar cheese here. And then I have just some corn tortillas right here. And I am just gonna rip these up and throw them on the top. And I just kind of mix them in just a little bit here with my tongs. Hello, heaven. Okay. All right, best part coming right up. Okay, so let's get this grated cheddar all over the top. Ooh la la. And we're also gonna add some fresh jalapenos on the top, just for a little pretty green and some color. Into the oven this goes, under the broiler for about 5 minutes until the top is golden and bubbling and delicious. Our skillet chicken enchiladas are out of the oven and looking absolutely delicious. Let me show you how this fits into lunch. It starts with a generous helping of chicken skillet enchilada, followed by some fresh tomatoes, a few slices of fresh jalapeno, an avocado wedge, and a squeeze of fresh lime. Add some chips and you've got lunch. Coming up, dinner is on the menu. My one skillet lasagna. Stay right here. Next, we're getting started on my favorite meal of the day, which is dinner. I am fixing skillet lasagna for tonight. And this is so much fun. It's so rich and hearty and delicious. It's just a favorite with everybody in my family. All right, so I'm just tapping in some grated garlic. We're gonna jazz up our store-bought pasta sauce. And I already have browned my hamburger. I have browned a pound of hamburger. And I have already started my pasta. I boiled about 2.5 cups of pasta. And next I am just going to add in my can of store-bought pasta sauce. And that olive oil that's already in there is going to give this such a silky, beautiful texture. I have another shortcut that I am going to take in this recipe. I'm going to add in about a dozen store-bought meatballs. So I've already thawed them out. These meatballs are already thawed out, so they are going to take no time at all to cook. Okay, we'll give those a stir around. And I better check on my pasta, make sure that's all done. You want your pasta to be al dente, pretty al dente. You want it to be kind of firm. Oops, it escaped me. Okay, can I get one, ladies and gentlemen? You want your pasta to be kind of firm, but still, fairly cooked, so I'll check this. Okay, that's perfect. So I better get that off the stove and into a colander. Okay. And any kind of short pasta is perfect for this dish. All right, so next we're getting started on some herb ricotta cheese for this lasagna. My mom always put ricotta in our lasagna growing up, and I think it's absolutely delicious. It's just super creamy. It's just such a fun element to put into your lasagna, but it is a little bit bland, and so we're gonna jazz it up with some fresh chopped basil today. And here is my bowl of ricotta. So I'm just gonna, pretty, aww. So cute. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and mix in this delicious fresh basil that's gonna give us such a bright color. And then also just to jazz it up a little bit, I'm gonna just do a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Just a little bit. Okay. And this is just going to be a fun pop of wow on your taste buds when you bite into a hunk of ricotta with this fresh basil in it. Okay. And I believe our other elements are ready, so we're ready to start assembling this skillet lasagna. All right, so we've got our meaty sauce right here. And next it's time to add our pasta back in. There we go. I love those fun curly pasta shapes. Okay, and we'll just give this a stir around in here. And next, I am going to add in just these cute little mozzarella pearls. We're just gonna dump a bunch of those in. All right, and next, we're going in with our herbed ricotta. So I just like to kind of make like a little place and just kind of drop it down inside there. Spot going. There we go. There we go. Yes. Oh my goodness, and such pretty color too. I love the basil in the ricotta. And next, I just have some grated mozzarella. So I am just gonna go all over the top with this. I have been known to put pepperoni in my pasta bakes as well, but today it's just a little bit spicy, so if you're not wanting spicy, you just want to leave it out. Okay, and last, you have to have some salty Parmesan in this. So I have just a block of Parmesan here. So we're going in with our fresh grated Parmesan. I'm just gonna do a big pile in the middle, and I'm gonna spread it all out. That's beautiful, and I love the different texture of the cheeses too. I love the two different grates that you get. And as a final little garnish, I'm just gonna add some fresh parsley. Okay, it's gorgeous. Into the oven under the broiler for about 5 minutes until the top is crusty and golden and bubbling, and all the adjectives you can think of. Look at this gorgeous skillet lasagna. Oh my goodness. This just looks like a work of art. Oh my gosh, I've just got to dig in. Look at that ricotta. Oh my goodness, so much goodness. The meatballs, the basil, oh, and it smells amazing. I can really smell the garlic. Let's get this on a plate and I'll show you how dinner is served. Each plate gets a healthy portion of skillet lasagna with a healthy green salad and a little slice of garlic toast. Coming up, my espresso blondies, the perfect sweet treat to the end of a day of skillets. So dessert in a cast iron skillet is such a treat, and today we're going to be fixing some espresso blondies. These are my favorite. They incorporate just everything that is wonderful about life. They've got the cookie, they've got the coffee flavor, and the chocolate, which is a match made in heaven. So it starts with a stick of softened butter, and I'm just gonna let that go for a moment. All right, and next we're going to add in half a cup of brown sugar, just lightly packed. And a quarter cup of granulated sugar. Fine start to any cookie recipe. All right, and next we need a teaspoon of vanilla extract, just kind of your basic chocolate chip cookie base. And then 1 egg. Okay, and next I'm gonna add in my dry ingredients, which are a cup of flour. And here we go. Cup of flour. And a half a teaspoon of salt. Definitely need some salt to counteract the sweetness. and half a teaspoon of baking soda. All right, so I've just gotten my cup of chocolate chips out of the microwave, and I just kind of microwave them on little intervals of about 30 seconds. And then we're gonna add our wonderful instant espresso powder. And I am just going to add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of this to my chocolate here. All right, so that's looking gorgeous. Okay, I'll set that aside. And I've already buttered my 10-inch skillet. Okay, and I'm going to take about 3/4 or 2/3 of this cookie mixture, and I'm just gonna spoon it in here. And I'll just kind of spread it out in an even layer on the bottom. So just go like that, and it's pretty sticky, so you will need, if you need to reapply your cooking spray, you just go right ahead. I love these. These are so delicious. I'm super excited to get these out of the oven. They are such a treat. Okay. And next we're going in with our espresso chocolate mixture. And I'm just gonna kind of dollop it right in the middle and then just kind of spread it out. And I will leave a little bit of a crust along the edges, just in case you want to eat it pizza style. Okay, we'll have a gentle hand here. Just kind of work it gently out to the sides. All right, and then we are just gonna take our leftover dough and we're just gonna dollop that all over the top, kind of in big pieces here. Just kind of tuck it in. There we go. So fun. Just a decadent, really just a fun, different kind of dessert. And in the skillet makes it super fun too. All right, this is looking gorgeous. Okay, and if you wanted to even add some nuts, you could certainly do that, but we're just gonna kind of leave it just with the espresso, giving that flavor a chance to shine. So I'm gonna put these in the oven for about 25 minutes until they're just, the edges are just starting to pull away from the sides and the top is just barely starting to get brown.
So there you have it, folks. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner all in one skillet. Now, I don't know about you, but I am not sure where to start. So I think I will just grab my fork and dig in. For recipes and more, visit highbrowdownhome.com.